and perhaps do that.
Let me put it to you differently. In peace processes, we always talk about the fact that you need to always create some kind of buy-in, and you create that buy-in to a process or an idea by suggesting that people have something to lose. So that is their buy-in.
Sure.
What does the government have to lose today by not heeding or listening or going down some of the paths and alternatives you suggest? They have everything to win.
Sure. Which is also why, like we always do in peace processes, that we don't have a right moment at the moment.
Sure. But I mean, I want to end up on a optimism is too broad a word perhaps, but I want to give the public some kind of hope that there are anchors, there are ways in which you can reform that which you see is wrong today.
Well, perhaps at the moment, I mean, the comment that you quoted from Ambassador Jayatilaka would be about as optimistic as we can get, that we have assurance from the highest quarters in government that once the military program or campaign against the LTTE is over, that the broader political questions which led to the conflict in the first place will be addressed through some form.
That's very interesting. So you do believe the executive then? That's very interesting. I say, so you believe?
I don't. As I said, I hold it in great skepticism.
Sure.
But that is all that I think, in terms of ending on a note, that is the best that we can do at the moment. Because I have very different perspectives from what is needed. I don't think that that's going to be a viable solution at all in terms of what the government seems to have suggested.
There's also, I mean, in terms of the broader public imagination, mechanisms such as the APRC, even though the 17th Amendment seems to be stuck in limbo, there's always the articulation by the government that they're doing all they can to reanimate it. So there seems to be these things playing out in the public imagination and consciousness. So one would argue that the government is trying its best.
Well, that's where my skepticism comes. As I said, that's the best that we can hope for, that the government is serious about what it is saying, certainly. But I hold that with a great deal of skepticism. You can't have a situation in which large parts of the Constitution, the critical parts of the Constitution, including the emergency powers section, the section concerning all of the mechanisms of good governance, the 17th Amendment, and including the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which contemplates a basic system of devolution at the end of the day, which has never been properly implemented. When you have a situation in which the principal organ of the state, the government, the executive, which is in a position, in fact, to implement the provisions of the Constitution, is not doing so, then it is very difficult to be too hopeful that things will change in the future.
Let me get this straight. We're heading towards the end, but you are more skeptical about the government than you are about the LTT's bona fides as a contributor to a solution.
No, my whole point about this is this, and I think that both the state and the LTT are highly problematic actors in this whole thing. They have both demonstrated consistently that they are absolutely sort of...
but you can't wish them away.
No, but you can't. But because both actors are critical in any sustainable, and this is one of my criticisms about the peace process of 2001 and 2, where you had a situation in which certainly, I mean, certain constituencies came together to talk the language that I'd certainly heard in this country with regard to a negotiated peace and so on. But we clearly saw that the limitations of their democratic legitimacy. So we have to be humble enough to accept that. So we must always remember that both hardline actors on either side of the ethnic divide are problematic actors, but nonetheless without them you can't, there is no solution. So both the state as well as the LTT, problematic certainly from where I come from in the political spectrum as a liberal. As a constitutionalist, their attitudes to politics are hugely problematic, but that doesn't mean if we are going to sort of go down a durable, trying to find a durable peace which is constitutionally secured in a way that we can have 30 years not of emergency but of peace, then that they can't avoid dealing with either of the two actors.
Asanga, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and all the best.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Cheers.